My God, bitch, it's hot. It's been like
Same. It's so hot in here.
hot. I'm hot. I don't like to be
Well,
hot
we always wear sweatshirts though, but like
because they're cute and
I
fashionable. Beauty is pain, boo.
well, I'm happy to be back. I sorry about last week, guys.
Yeah, so episode 7 is actually going to be this one because episode 7 is not episode 7.
Guys, honestly, and I hate to brag because you're never going to hear it, but it was really good. It was a really good episode. I'm so
It
bummed.
it was a really good episode. We had some good conversation. We had two Need Your Opinions, and we're going to do those today. And if you all have I Need Your Opinion questions you want to submit, you should do that on our website, theopinionatedpodcast.com. There's a form, fill it out. It's anonymous. The link is in bio or is in the show notes or, it's over there. There's links everywhere. Like, click around. If you're on the Instagram or the TikTok, there's links. Like, I don't, can we do, it's in the show notes, y'all. Just find it. We put links everywhere. Like, yeah. And if you follow us on TikTok and Instagram, you'll know that we announced that. So sorry. Anyway, episode 7, take 2.
So sorry. And we're not going to sit here and blabber on about how amazing it was when you'll never hear it. But that's what I want to do just because
I will say it was
it
really
was
cool
really
though
good.
to record in the same room. So what happened is that we got a lot of echo. It's really great having good microphones, but we probably need them better because we were sitting next to each other, but we could hear each other. And we even had professionals trying to look at it. It wasn't working. But we looked so cute
I
being in the
know.
same room. I'll see if I can find a way to show you all so you all can at least live the dream with us a little bit. Like look at a cute little
Yeah.
image of us being cute.
Yeah, I reached out to every single producer that I knew from my previous life, like every single one, and all of them wrote me back and basically was just like, I can't fix this. And they all kind of made it seem the answer to our problem was very fucking obvious and that we both probably should have known what to do. I was willing to be like, hey, here's a grand, fucking fix this episode. And they wouldn't even take it on.
Whatever. Y'all missed out. Hate it for us. Hate it for you. Hate it for everybody. But you're going to hear some
Yeah.
of it today. So stick to the end.
Stick to the end. But we were together and we had the best, we really did have the best weekend. I had the best trip.
It went by really fast. 5 days flew by.
It did. It went really quick. We also had we were nonstop. We didn't really have a time when we weren't doing anything. I feel like we had plans, even though it's so funny because you were like, I didn't make a lot of plans, but we had
I
many
didn't.
plans.
I didn't. The only plans I actually made by the time you got here is we did Disney on Thursday, which we should give a little highlight, and then dinner Friday and Saturday. Like I didn't have anything else booked, and then all of a sudden, best friend Nathan was like, "Come over," and great. Dawn loves Nathan, and then all my friends ended up coming, and it was like this big surprise. And then, hey, let's go to Century City. Let's do this. And yeah, it was just, you needed a bag, so we had to go get you a bag because you weren't
Yeah.
coming home.
Yeah, it was a booked and busy weekend. I have to say, I think one of my definitely I love Disney World. Like I think we talk about this all the time. I'm not a Disney adult, but when I go, I really like love it. I had the best time at Disneyland. It was so cute.
Yeah, it was cute. The OG Disneyland's really cool. Thank you. Shout out to Joey for helping us get tickets to that.
Yes.
My boyfriend used to work there many years ago. He's from the area and knows all of it. He was like, "Oh, yeah, we'll go here. We'll go here." He was like Disney map embedded into his brain because he used to
Yeah.
manage restaurants there. So
No, we
shout out to
had
Joey.
the best day. It was so magical. We did California Adventure, which I always thought it was like one park. I didn't realize Disneyland had two parks.
Yeah, 2 parks.
Yeah.
And then we have
Carsland?
We have Disneyland. Yeah, Carsland. What do you think? Did you feel like you were walking in a
Radiator
movie?
Springs. It was so well done. One thing I love about Disney is they really do such a good job with their attention to detail. I felt like I was in the movie. It was so cute. I could have stayed in Carsland and Star Wars area, even though that's not in California Adventure, all day. I didn't really need
Yeah.
to go anywhere else.
Yeah, Radiator Springs was cool. The cool rides are, I think most of the cool rides are in California Adventure. You have the Incredicoaster on Pixar Pier, which is really, really cool.
That was fun.
I think the car is right where you're zooming through Route 66
Yes.
and stuff. Like that was fun. Your mom enjoyed that one and she doesn't like rides. It's just really cool. You're right. The detail is really good. I felt like I was one of the cars. It was just really cool. I really liked it. It's one of my favorite parks. And then we had Disneyland. What did you think of Disneyland compared to Disney World's Magic Kingdom?
I very similar. Like I felt like everything was pretty much the same. CJ, the only thing that I like was true. You know what I'm gonna say too.
I already
The
know where
only
you're going
thing
with this because I had the same reaction.
that I was so shocked about was the castle. I was like, is this the guest house?
Yeah.
Like, is this
It's not
a fountain?
Cinderella's castle. It's Sleeping Beauty's castle.
They did her so fucking dirty. I truly, at first when I looked at it, I was like, oh, there's like a Lego replica of the castle.
Not the Lego. Yeah,
It was tiny.
I had the same reaction. I purposely didn't take you right down the middle of Main Street. Like, we kind of went off to the side. And then when we got a little closer, brought you to the middle. And your reaction was the same as mine. I went, what? That's it?
I think because you and I both grew up going to Disney World, so it was kind of a letdown. Whereas I'm sure if you've gone from like Disneyland to Disney World, like you can see the castle from every park pretty much. That's how big it is. So like
It's a
that like
centerpiece
magic.
of the world.
Yes. Right. So I have to say I could not have been more let down. They should add on to that. I get it's the original and stuff, but maybe like let's do another story. Like, let's add to that. That's
And
my
Disneyland
recommendation.
We had a lot of the same rides, and they're very, very similar. There's like maybe some small tweaks. Like, I know Pirates is a little bit different. Haunted Mansion there's slight difference, like when you go up and down the staircase. So a lot of similarities.
Haunted Mansion's better at Disneyland, I think.
Really? You think so?
I think so. I liked it a lot better. Like, I liked the mansion better. It kind of gave like a New Orleans, Charleston old vibe rather than just like creepy. Like, I don't know. And I think also too, I don't know if you've watched on Disney Plus, but they do kind of the history of the ride and how it was created and like the Madame Leota. So maybe I just have more of an affinity to it because I watched the creation of it from Disney Plus. But overall, I had the best day. We were there for a long time.
We were. And it's a little bit smaller. Someone I think once told me is that you could fit Disneyland in one of the parking lots of Disney World's Magic Kingdom. It's that the size difference is that big. And if you can probably speak more to better than I can, but Disney World with all of its parks, it's in a city. It's not like, oh, this is a park, but it's its own city.
It is. It's actually known for basically having its own laws. Like Disney is its own, like it doesn't really adhere to a lot of Florida state laws, which is interesting. Like they can kind of do their own thing. Their permitting is different. Everything is different in Disney World. And you know it the second you drive into Disney World zip code. The street signs are purple instead of green. And like Disney World is just like, it really is so magical. I get why people love it. Like, there's neighborhoods within it now. You can live kind of within Disney World and you can just go there and go to the parks all the time. It's part of your mortgage. It's crazy.
Well, yeah, I don't love Disney. I'm not that serious about it. I'm not that Disney adult. It's fun, but like I've lived here for 11 years and I've only been there 4 times.
Yeah.
And it's
like,
an hour down the street.
There's TikTokers who are like, I'm going to go on a walk today. Let's go on a walk and get coffee at Epcot. I'm like, what? What? I just dropped off the kids.
Get a cup of coffee.
Yeah, gonna go walk around Main Street. Dropped off the kids at preschool. There was Cinderella. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, I'm not that Disney adult. It was a lot of fun. No. I think my favorite part of the whole thing was the fact that it wasn't that crowded. I heard from some folks that did go over the weekend that was like, it was chaos and mayhem. I don't know if it's because maybe we went Thursday, but we waited 30, not even 45 minutes was our longest wait time.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
And then the Star Wars ride, because you guys have Star Wars Wolf as well, but the ride that we have at Star Wars, I forgot the name of it, but it's one of the coolest rides I've ever been on.
It was amazing. Connor's a big Star Wars fan. I'm not as much so, but I think no matter what, even if you're not a fan, you can appreciate the ride, the detail. The people working the rides were acting. They were like actors, which I get Disney, that's Disney's thing, but no, specifically for this ride, they were bringing you through the ride as if they were part of the resistance, as part of the First Order. It was so cool. How about Mom getting talked to by was it the First Order guards? Is that what you call them?
Yeah, so they're Stormtroopers. So here's a little photo.
Yes.
It was so funny. I was giving it to her too. This bitch right here. This bitch, she's the trouble. And they're stopping her on the street, analyzing her. Yo, it was hilarious. And she's like, "What is going on?" And I'm like, "Take her to jail. She's part of the resistance. Yo, get her, Jade." It was
It was
hilarious. She
good.
was like, she didn't know what to do. Think of herself.
Well, and Dawn is so funny in like, I don't know, public situations in general. So watching her kind of get verbally accosted by a stormtrooper was the highlight of my weekend.
It
I love
wasn't her
that.
dancing with everybody on Saturday night. Let's talk about Dawn.
Oh,
Dawn Cruz.
uh,
Don Cruz. So if you listen to, I think it was episode 3, Tom, your father, Tom Cruise is a different person
yes.
on when he goes cruising. Don in LA, different human being. Don Cruz. I'm telling you. So we went out
Time of her life.
on time of her life. We went on Saturday to my watering hole, my favorite gay bar at High Tops here in LA. She's been before. Don Cruz was having the night of her life. She was dancing with everyone. She would just go up to people. People were dancing back. People were living for it. People were absolutely living for it.
Dawn loves to dance. One thing about my mom is she loves any kind of music. She loves to dance. Girl lives for a piano bar. She was having the time of her life. Okay, also I was kind of surprised by the moves, weren't you? Homegirl can move.
Hips. Them hips do not lie. Shakira would be so proud.
Mm-hmm.
There was one guy in there that was dancing, clearly has been on some sort of stage, I'm sure. Picks her up. Picked her up, y'all. Picked her up off the floor. And I'm not talking like a little, ooh, I'm talking about like scooped her up and was twirling her. I was gooped. I was so shook. What is going on,
Yeah.
Dawn Cruz over here? Can we talk about who I think Dawn's favorite dance partner was? Ava Max. Your mother went up to Ava Max and had no idea who she was. Photo as evidence. Was hanging out with Ava Max and had no freaking idea. The whole room was like, girl. It was like videotape because she's like, what's going on? I'm like, that's Ava Max. You are dancing with Ava Max. And Ava Max gets on top of the like go box and they put on one of her songs and she starts lip singing and everything like. And what did your mother do?
I think because she didn't obviously know who Ava was. And because Dawn was kind of the star of the show, she was just the one dancing with everybody. She was like, wait, if she gets to go up there, I want to go up there. And basically everyone was like, you can't. That's a famous
We were
person.
pulling her down. She's like, I'm going up there. We were like, no, boom, you will get kicked out. Do not go up there.
Ava got kicked out.
And then they kicked Ava Max out. And everybody was talking to the bouncer. Do you know who that is? That's Ava Max. And he goes, I don't care. And then kicks out Ava Max. Ava got kicked out of my favorite gay bar, y'all. What is life?
He was pulling her down. And I was like, you don't know who that is. She's famous. And he literally just looks at me and he goes, I don't care. And I was like, oh, okay. That was so much fun. And I think one of my favorite parts too, and I'm sure that you can appreciate this too, and I'm sure you have a note on this, but after we were about to leave and she was finishing up dancing with a little group, I went over to one of the guys in the group and I was like, thank you so much for including my mom and dancing with my mom. She's having so much fun. And he just looked at me and he was like, of course, I can't tell you how much it means to have a parent in here. I like almost teared up at the bar. And you know me, I don't cry in public.
I agree. I would bet my life savings to bet that there were quite a few people in that bar that saw a maternal figure in that space and was just delighted to see that because it's so common in our community to not feel like our parents or adults that aren't LGBTQI that support us. I don't know many people that have parents that are like, I accept you, it's cool, but I'm not going to go into those spaces because whatever their aversion is, especially when you get out of more populated areas. So for them to see someone that's obviously a maternal figure to be in there and having fun and appreciating it, I guarantee you meant something to somebody because for me, it does. It very, very, very much means more than I think is able to express into words. Because I remember the first time that I took her to High Tops, I was worried. I was a little scared of how she's going to feel about it. And she ends up having so much fun. And I've told her this several times that has almost been kind of a life goal of mine is for someone from my family to experience my world and to know that it may not be what you think it is, that people have preconceived notions about how hypersexualized we are or you know, we hear pedophile a lot. You know, there's a lot of people that have been kicked out of homes. LGBT homelessness is a really big problem in our community, especially when you get to anyone that's not white and people that are trans. And so to see that in my own space, you have no idea how fulfilling and how It feels this part of me that I don't feel that I've really had since I came out when I was 19, and our grandmother was just so, yeah, okay, anybody, what are we doing for dinner? And I haven't felt that whole as a human in many, many, many years. And I think that you all being here and her experiencing high tops for the first time and like, that's my home base. That's my cheers. And for her to be so happy about being there and experiencing my community, it just, words will never express what that truly meant to me. And so I can guarantee you it meant to a lot of people seeing a stranger in that space being so supportive. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that makes my heart both sad and happy at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very, very proud to have her as a mom, you know?
Me too. Dawn Cruz, man, what a delight.
No. Also, like, okay, pivoting to traveling with Dawn Cruz is an interesting ball game.
Oh,
it
I
really
can
is.
imagine.
Dawn does not leave her bubble much. Bless her heart. She doesn't. She just doesn't leave her bubble much, and that's okay. And when she does, it is so funny to see her out in the wild. When we were on the way to LA, we were sitting at the bar at the airport, and she kept announcing every time, like, our flight would change 1 minute, like, to the bar. She'd be like, "Oh, our gate has changed to F61," and then it would be like, "Oh, now we're boarding at 6:46." Like, people around us are actually like giggling. It was
like
interesting.
Nobody is here for the same thing. She's never been in an airport before.
I feel like the roles sometimes reverse, and I as we get older, I'm sure other people can attest to this, and just like as the world changes and stuff, I kind of feel sometimes the adult children become the parents of their parents. I felt like I was like, okay, come on, we gotta go. Getting my child through the airport, but traveling with her is a different ballgame. Oh, she wasn't there for this moment. I don't know how she would have. I don't know if I told you about this. I had the craziest interaction on the plane. Like, crazy.
Girl, I can only imagine. People do not know how to travel. When you get on a plane or go through an airport, it's everybody's first time ever.
CJ, please stop. I didn't know how to react. So mom went to the bathroom. It was like right before we were about to close the doors, take off. And this man comes up to me with, I'm going to show you so you can see, his arms in his shirt like this. I guess he was cold. And he had a
We did when
up.
we were in middle school?
Yes. He had the button-up shirt on. And
So
he
this
just
was a
walks up
grown-ass
to
man.
me. Yes, grown-ass man. He had to have been like 65 years old, like older man. Comes up to me, and I think he waited till mom went to the bathroom. Comes up to me and he goes, "My hands are stuck. Can you unbutton my shirt for me? I got cold."
Ew.
What? I literally looked at him and I was like, I thought he was joking. I didn't know how to react, so naturally I unbuttoned his shirt.
Wait, like all the way unbuttoned? Or like one
No,
button?
I did one. I did one button. And
Who takes their arms like Stitch and puts them inside of a button up? Like we do that with t-shirts and sweatshirts when we're cold, but like a button up?
but like also as a grown man, and then you go up to a girl half your age and you ask her to declothe you, essentially. So I did the first button and he starts taking his hands out. He goes, "I still can't reach it." And I was like, "You're on your own. Ask that guy." And it was a big old dude next to me. And he goes,
That's
"Oh, I think I
fucking
got
weird.
it." It was, CJ, it was the weirdest thing I've ever
That's weird.
experienced. Yeah.
Men are disgusting sometimes. Like
Women,
dude, you
I'm
know
not
what you were
safe.
doing, and he was doing exactly what it sounds like he was doing. If you're listening to
Yeah.
this out in this world, whoever you are, that's fucking weird. Don't do that again.
Yeah, don't ask women you don't know to unbutton your clothing.
In front of everyone on an airplane.
And ladies, don't do it.
Yeah, Gina.
I can't believe I did that. I panicked. I was like, sure. But yeah, the traveling, the trip, it was all a really great weekend. And I feel like I am still recovering from it all.
Totally agree. It was a great weekend. We had a lot of fun. Same. Joey and I did go see Lilo and Stitch, the new live action. It had mixed reviews. I saw on my Instagram that a few people were like, "This is terrible." I had one friend walk out in the middle of it. He was like, "This is awful."
What?
It's one of Joey's favorite Disney movies. And it's really interesting, too, because there's all these stories out that when it first released, it wasn't that popular. But with Disney Plus and over time, it's become one of the most profitable franchises because it's been holding up over time. I liked it. and Joey liked it as well. I think that they did a really good job of making it its own. One of my favorite things, I don't want to ruin it for people, but it's not the exact same storyline. One of the things
Oh,
that I
really?
really liked about it, yeah, it holds up, and they have little nuggets of the same thing in there, like the man that drops his ice cream a lot. He makes a couple appearances. But one of the biggest differences is how they portrayed the older sister, and they sent her off to college. We actually watched the animated movie afterwards when we got home, and I didn't get that as much from the animated, but with this one, they really made her a strong woman by the end of the movie. And there was a neighbor that was involved that ended up taking guardianship of her, so it ended up being really, really hi Hutch.
He keeps, it is what it is.
It is what it, no, I love it. Give a cameo. So I thought it was really well done. I actually really, really liked it.
Good. That makes me feel better, because I saw mixed review too, but I also, like, after you told me that a friend had walked out, I saw like 10 minutes later a girl posted on her story that it was a 10 out of 10. So I truly like polarizing reviews. So I'm really excited to see it.
Yeah, I loved it.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. I want to see it. Maybe we'll go do that this weekend. We don't have plans. Thank God.
Yeah, it's an easy watch too. It's great.
Yeah.
I recommend though going in the evening, because we went during the day, and oh my God, so many kids.
Kiddos. Yeah.
Nothing against kids, but when you have a room of 100 of them, it's very hard to appreciate a movie when you have screaming and crying and snot and spit.
Mm-hmm. As a child that would sing and dance during movies at the movie theater.
Yes, you did. Like the Barney movie, I very, very, very well remember. When you were a little kid, standing in the chair, belting at the top of your lungs every song in that movie. One of my favorite core memories of you.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much.
I'll never forget it. Standing outside with my mouth open wide. To this day.
I forgot about that song. Oh my God. That just hit me. That like,
I did.
Oh wow, that nostalgia just like whacked me in the face.
Screaming.
I was about to say I just got a facial from that nostalgia, and that felt weird. I can't believe that thought went through my head. I'm glad I didn't say that, but then I did say it. Ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
Ooh, did you hear? So a lot of the cast for Dancing with the Stars, I know we already talked about Robert Irwin being on Dancing with the Stars this year, which I love.
Yep.
Did you hear that Alex Earl is amongst the cast, apparently?
The influencer?
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Which could be the first like influencer, because it's like stars usually TV, movie, music, people that have been camera type of thing. So have they had influencer type people before? I don't think they have. I don't
believe so. I think that's kind of why people are so excited about it. I think this is the first true influencer. Apparently she did like dance and stuff in high school, and you can kind of just, she has like the presence for it. So I think it makes total sense. But I think people are excited because this is where media is going, is that internet space and like internet stardom. And if there is anybody that embodies internet fame, Alex Earl is one of the most famous young women in the world right now. Definitely United States. She really is, and she's done a really good job, and she has a huge fan base. So I think it was a really smart move. It's ABC that does Dancing with the Stars, right?
Yeah, it's ABC. And I agree. I think in my mind, it also kind of goes back to when Kim Kardashian got a star on the Walk of Fame, and people were losing their fucking minds because they were like, she's not a real star. She's this influencer. And as much as I cannot stand the Kardashian family, I do think she earned that spot. She is very well known. She is a star. They ended up getting their own reality TV show. I think she earned that star. And I totally agree. It's where media is going. Why shouldn't this person who is incredibly well known represent fame and stardom? At the end of the day,
I agree.
they're probably they need to bring in a younger audience. And I don't know what the audience of that show is like, but this is going to bring in a younger audience of people because that's who her following is. So why wouldn't they cast somebody like that?
And I think it's a really smart move for Alex. So her dad apparently is her manager. I mean, her sister's getting very famous. Her family actually has a very interesting past. I think it was a really smart move for Alex as well. And I think that it's going to bring a lot of her viewers to TV. And I think it's going to bring her an entire new audience because also too,
good point.
She is becoming, I think she's 24. But she is going to no longer be a young woman, and she's going to kind of turn into like more so like an adult woman soon. And I think this is a really strategic move on her family's part to kind of put her in front of a bit of an older audience. I'm excited. I'm excited to watch her. I'm excited to watch Robert Irwin. I've never really watched Dancing with the Stars, but
bingo.
Like it's pulling me in.
Point. You just proved the point.
Did you see that Demi Lovato got married?
To a man or a woman?
To a man. And a very traditional wedding. Very, like, white dress, traditional ceremony, the whole nine.
That's not the word that I would use to describe Demi Lovato.
That's exactly why I brought it up. Is she still a they, them?
I don't
Do we know?
know. And here, like, I have thoughts on that. This is my opinion. I take issue with how loosey-goosey and just nonchalant I feel she did her gender identity, shaped her head. To me, she's just always been this pick-me type of clout-chasing kind of thing. She's done a lot of stuff and she has good music, but she's, in my opinion, it's always felt like she's trying to do something to be relevant. I don't have an aversion to Demi Lovato, but she got a lot of flack in our community for how she portrayed that. She flip-flopped back and forth like she was changing her day of the week underwear. Like, what?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And when it was happening, also, like, I thought that for the LGBTQ people that are trying to be taken seriously in their identity and how they want to be personified in their humanity, like, I felt like it discredited them. Just because, like,
agreed.
Demi Lovato is a famous person and she just decided this, truthfully, and it didn't feel like that was they felt to their core. It felt like an in-the-moment thing that was going to, you know, bring a lot of praise after her. Honestly, she had a mental breakdown and a huge drug addiction problem, and it was right before she went back to rehab. I just feel like it completely discredited the entire community and did the opposite of what I imagined she hoped it would do.
For our gender nonconforming friends, they are trying to express and feel themselves. They're not doing it because they want attention. I know quite a few people that are very gender nonconforming that want to be fluid, and they're not doing it because they want other people to do that. They're very open to answering questions. We already have enough issues in society of people not taking that seriously and doing this whole, oh no, you're he, him, the pronouns and all this other stuff. It's like, girl, calm down. Pronouns are not the issue. You just want to cause a stink from our people, our community. But who cares about your pronouns? Who cares how they want to identify? Who cares if they say them? I have people that literally will come to me on Instagram and will just go off and be like, I'm not taking you serious. You have your pronoun in the profile. Who the fuck cares? Show me on the doll where the pronoun hurts you. It's not that serious. At the end of the day, why is it hurting you? Where's it hurting you? Why do you fucking care? You don't want to identify as a potato, then don't identify as a potato.
Right. And with someone who has that kind of fame, because Demi really does have A-list celebrity fame, like, you can't fuck around with that. Like, that's not something, like, you have influence over a lot of people on a lot of different political spectrums. Like, you can't just be like, okay, I'm deciding you're going to call me they, them, and then go back to being she. It's just, it completely does the opposite of what the community needs right now, which is legitimacy, credit for who people believe that they are and want to be recognized as. And when you have that kind of fucking influence, you can't fuck around with that. That's not a joke. So I completely agree with you. And that's why the wedding itself just felt very traditional to me. And maybe there are some trans people who do want that, like, traditional wedding, or there are people that identify as they, them, that want that traditional wedding. Do your thing. I just was surprised by it. I'm not judging for the traditional wedding. It just surprised me. Demi seems well. Great. Good for you. You seem happy. That's all that matters. Healthy. Great. Good for you. I was a little taken aback.
Yeah, I do think she's doing better. She's no Amanda Bynes, but she's definitely, I'm glad to see that she's stable.
You guys, I sent a video of Amanda Bynes to CJ the other day, and he goes, who the fuck is that? And I was like, it's Amanda
I didn't recognize
Bynes.
her. You look like Billy Ray Cyrus from the 90s. What?
Girl's having a tough go. She's having a tough go.
A tough go? She's been having a tough go since 2003.
She cut her bangs to, like, here, and they grew out to, like, here, and she hopped on a TikTok to be like, guys, look, I grew my bangs out.
Y'all, fame does shit to people.
Does. Well, she was part of that Nickelodeon mess, so I'm not surprised.
That's a whole nother segment.
Uh-huh.
Speaking of traditional, Travis Hunter, who I think is some sort of sports ball person. I don't know. I don't follow sports. The only sports I follow is
I think he's a
RuPaul's Drag Race.
Heisman winner. He's a football player.
Oh.
He's a Heisman winner. Yeah.
Heisman. Yeah, okay, so he plays sports ball. But what I found interesting is I'm always curious about what people do prenups, because, you know, I have my own stance on prenups. And when you see someone that's famous or somebody that has a lot of money not get a prenup, I'm always like, why
it's funny you say that.
are you not protecting yourself?
I had a friend actually send me a post about how him and it's either his wife or his soon to be wife. I think they might be already married. I'm not 100% sure of when things happen, but I guess he signed like a crazy contract. I'm talking like a $38 million contract. And I actually had someone send me the post about it, about how they don't have a prenup. And they're, I mean, young, I believe. Or he was a Heisman winner. I don't know. Okay, guys, we're not into sports. We're really just talking about marriage and prenups. But
It's about the prenup.
I thought that was interesting too. It's about the prenup. But I thought that was an interesting story too. I saw that as well this weekend.
Yeah. What do you think about prenup? You and Connor don't have one, but you also don't have
No.
$38 million that
Yeah.
you're trying to protect. And the future of that $38 million, because when you get money, you make money. And so protecting those assets. And I mean, I'm for a prenup, especially if I have a lot of money and I've worked really hard. I think it also might be different than, some people that were either born into money or that kind of thing. And it may be different. And I'm also not a multimillionaire, so I don't know. But as myself, I am pro prenup, but not lock and key. My money is my money. You ain't never getting a thing, because I do think there are certain situations, for example, motherhood. You aren't maybe getting a job because you want to be a stay-at-home mom. That is a job. Being a stay-at-home mother is a job. You worked. Providing for that family and your children, and if you have a millionaire, you probably have security, good schools. There should be some spousal support. If you divorce, that stuff doesn't stop. Your kids still have to be cared for. When you divorce, and I hear this quite often, it is difficult sometimes for women to go into the workforce when they haven't worked for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so I do think there are situations where it should be a little bit more equal, and not saying, well, you ain't getting a damn thing, good luck in life. I don't think that that's right, but I am pro prenup depending on the situation.
Same. I agree. Connor and I also talked about it before the wedding. Well, actually, we talked about it before we got engaged, and things change. We don't have a prenup. There's no really reason to. But I mean, if he would have asked me to sign one, I probably would have.
Yeah.
Like, I think people tend to forget, like, the prenup is not just to protect, and in most cases, right? Like, it's to protect the man. That's not the case. Like, a prenup can protect both parties, especially like if we're talking, like, let's run it back to sugar daddies. Like, girlfriend, protect yourself, babe. Like,
Hello.
That's what it's for. It's for both people involved. And I 100% agree. I think a lot of women, especially in different states with different laws regarding marriage and no fault states and whatever the case, like, women should be protective, especially because a lot of women do stop their careers to either help their man build their business or help build a family. And if she did that, she should absolutely protect herself. So I completely agree. I'm curious as to, I mean, I also get it if you don't want to get one because it, goes against your views. That's also fine too. I don't think it should be like you should get one or you shouldn't get one. And I don't know the history of Travis and his either soon to be wife or wife. If they've been together since fucking high school, I can understand her being like, no, bitch, I saw you through all of this when you had no goddamn money. I'm not signing a prenup. Like, I can see how that would play out as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think even if it's not like protecting yourself, it's outlining should something happen. And I know even on that level, well, nothing's going to happen. Why would I even put that to the universe? But still, if something were to happen, at least we're outlining very specific things that say, like, this is our general understanding of our boundaries and what that means for our future and what, especially if it talks about the care of your children.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, absolutely.
It becomes not about you at that point.
Right.
Yeah,
I just think it's like, I get it. It's a safety net for people that believe they need it, and that's totally fine. And you should do what works for you and your partner, period. And if that works for them, great.
Yeah. Relationships are so
38 mil?
complicated. Girl, I've done a whole lot more for a whole lot less. 38 mil is not small change to want to make a contract about, for real.
Right. But they didn't. So, like, good for you, girl.
Talking about getting your bag. Relationships are so messy.
Bag.
Like, they're just so messy.
They can be.
Speaking of messy relationships, should we talk about Diddy Do It?
Diddy do it? We need like a segment. I don't know. Should we say a rap?
Diddy do it? Did it? Yeah. Okay, now we just sound crazy. Diddy do it?
I love that. Love that. We should have Chat GPT make one for us. Actually,
It'll sound
like
so
a little
robotic.
jingle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you caught up?
I'll admit I'm a little behind just because still catching up
Okay.
from the Mem Day weekend. But what have you heard? What is your hot take?
Yeah. So, just to like a little recap. So last week when our episode got scrapped, we did talk about Kid Cudi's testimony, how P. Diddy opened all of his Christmas presents, which we thought was the craziest thing of the whole testimony.
Yeah, just to touch base on that, how do you go into
Yeah.
someone's house and just open Christmas presents? You're already
Criminal.
weird. You're already breaking and entering. You're already blowing up some man's car, but that's fucking criminal. You open
so
someone's
rude.
Christmas present? How fucking lunatic do you have to be to just go into someone's house and open Christmas presents?
That's fucked up. Honestly,
I love
like,
Christmas Mex as the Mex person. It's my favorite, but I would never go into someone's house and be like, oh, I wonder what's in this one.
not
fucking
Diddy playing the
psycho.
Grinch. Yeah.
That is
it's
psycho.
crazy. So that's kind of really
That
what
is-
we talked about last week.
Maniacal.
It's great. So some of the biggest updates, and I actually would really love your thoughts on this because I guess I'm starting to get a little confused, and maybe it's because I'm catching up on TikTok and I'm not reading the case files and I'm seeing things out of order. So two of the biggest testimonies that happened this week are with Cassie and Diddy's previous stylist, and then a previous assistant of Diddy's that they are calling Mia. It's an alias. And really, both of the testimonies were really continued to be focused around the domestic violence and the sexual abuse. Very detailed, again, extremely graphic, recounting, moments where like the stylist would put Cassie's hair up and Diddy wanted it down. And so he would take her head and throw her into the headboard, blood rushing down her, like very graphic, detailed stuff about that. And I guess where I'm getting a little bit confused is based on the charges. I feel a lot of the testimonies are really focused on DV and sexual abuse, which I guess I'm having a hard time understanding why they're focusing so much on that and not so much on the RICO stuff and the actual charges pressed against him.
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a good point. I think from my perspective, now I'm not an attorney. I don't, I've just listened along and, we're not in the courtroom. There are those three main charges and the racketeering RICO charge they're trying to get him on. And we talked about this before. I think there's this sort of mindset that might be one that may not stick. And so logically thinking, I think in my head, what they're trying to do is they're trying to take these things that they have a lot of evidence, a lot of testimony of these crazy stories, and that can easily paint him in this very specific picture to the jury of look at all this terrible stuff this man has been known to do and that people are saying that they're doing, that these rumors, and then all of a sudden we're going to get to these RICO charges that maybe is not as strong as evidence. Maybe they, it's more difficult to prove that, and that maybe they're trying to get the jury to have an opinion of him. How can you trust what this man is saying after all the stuff that you heard? Because another thing that I don't know of, and I'm ignorant to this, is are they going to put him on the stand?
I was wondering the same thing. I don't know.
Are we going to hear testimony from Diddy?
I have a dumb law question. If he doesn't want to take the stand, does he have that right, or can they subpoena him to do so?
I don't think you could subpoena because you still have the Fifth Amendment right to not speak. So, I mean, there have been many cases where even your lawyer can suggest you probably don't want to give a testimony. I don't, in my opinion, I don't think that looks good. You have all this evidence and all these testimonies that are painting you in a very specific light that is very clear to every human, Tom, Dick, or Harry in the world. You don't even have to be following the case to know that the history of this man is psycho. And so not testifying to that almost makes you look guilty, in my opinion. Like, I want to hear what you have to say.
Okay, so you think he should?
I do think he should. There's just too much going on for him not to say, okay, well, let me tell my side of the story. I don't know. Maybe it's so racked up and so insane that maybe he's not.
They're like, shut up, shut your mouth.
Yeah, like shut your mouth and let us handle putting the other people that can speak on your behalf.
If we haven't gotten to defense witnesses yet, and I guess I'm not 100% sure, it kind of seems like everyone's testifying against him. I haven't heard I've heard no good things. I have heard no one testifying for him. So are we just not there yet?
Maybe. And I think that's maybe a little bit more research. Like, I don't know. Like, we didn't get the witness list until very recently.
I feel like anyone of note, and even if you're not famous, if you testify for him, you are going to become infamous really fucking fast. Like that would be
That's a good point.
death to you, you know, from a PR standpoint. But again, if you get
Period.
subpoenaed, I guess you don't have a choice. I don't know how that works.
Girl, testify, because it couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. I would be like, I don't want to do this.
As a prosecutor asking the stylist, he was like, do you want to be here? And he goes, absolutely not. Like it's literally written down in the dialogue of the court notes. But I am curious who the defense is going to bring to the table. I think that's going to be very entertaining. I want to know who it is. I want to know what they have to say. Like, I want to hear someone defending Diddy just for the sake of like, let me hear how deluded you are that you think nothing. Like, I want to hear how fucking crazy you are if you think this man has done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
While we're talking about news, did you hear about Elon?
I did. It came out actually pretty late last night. You were probably already in bed, but it went viral. It was 10 p.m. on the West Coast. Elon Musk officially announcing that he is leaving DOGE at some point. I have so many thoughts, but for the interest of time, I'm going to try to keep them siloed and not go on this rant because I have my own opinions based on what I've seen since the administration has switched. Never been a big Elon fan, even since before he got involved with the election. The man is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and actually has quite a bit of a reputation. Like, he didn't found Tesla. If you look at what happened to Twitter when he bought Twitter, he gutted Twitter. Very similar behaviors, emails, stuff like that. People pulled money. Twitter has never, X, whatever you want to call it, has never been the same. Their valuation dropped dramatically and has never come back.
So what you're saying is you don't think
everything.
You don't think in terms of business efficiency that he was the right person for the job anyway?
I do not. And here, listen, I'm liberal. Do I think there's wasteful spending in the government? I do. I absolutely do. I worked in government when I lived in D.C. for 8 years for quite some time. I had government clients. I've worked with every branch of the government you can possibly imagine. I worked in the White House, executive offices. I've done so much. I worked with Michelle Obama, highlighted my career. It was fantastic. I've Department of Energy, NIH. These were some of my biggest clients that I did meetings for many, many, many years. I saw some of the spending. I do think there is a lot of things that we should be evaluating to say, is this appropriate? Are these contracts something we should be spending on? Because even though I'm liberal, we do have a debt problem. But I think that there is an appropriate way of doing that and not completely taking a hatchet to our entire government system and taking things away from people suddenly that we need. I think there's an evaluation process that should have happened, and that, you know, one of the things that we talk about, let's take talent, for example. You hemorrhaged how many jobs from the government without even evaluating how detriment they are? You tried to rehire some people back and they were like, go fuck yourself, that are really, really, really important to how we run government. And all of a sudden the administration was like, well, we want to do this thing. And they were like, we don't have anybody to do that. We fired those people. And one thing that came out of that, and something that was really big in the early O's and what made China what they are today, is they poached a lot of our good talent immediately. And that's what happened. There's this huge book that just came out recently that says that we built China, and Apple was a really big part of that. And I'm not going to go on that tangent. It was very, very fascinating. We helped make China what it is by giving them business and sending our brightest talent there. And if this Doge helped to fast track that even more. There was somebody put out a story of estimations of how many really talented people our government needs, brilliant scientists, engineers, that kind of thing, defense people, that China went, whoop, you're mine now. And now we're sharing secrets when we have a security issue already. So I do not think he was the right person for the job. But I also have theories on why he was there. Elon is not dumb. I will say that.
No,
Elon
I
is
think
a pretty
that's
smart man.
a fair statement.
But the money they said they were going to save, they came nowhere near it. They didn't understand how to analyze government contracts. They said at one point they saved $8 billion. They're like, you're reading the same contract 3 times. It ended up being only a couple $100 million. And there's just people that are actually going through and looking at what they're doing. It's barely a fraction of what they said they're going to save. It's just wild that we were so comfortable with just affecting so many people's lives, and we haven't even seen the downstream effect holistically that's going to happen, because in government you don't see stuff happen immediately. Even some of the stuff that Trump is trying to do now and being challenged in legal courts, it doesn't happen like that. And so it takes a while to get downstream effects. But just all the funding that you remove, like Head Start, for example, it is so important to so many people to be able to have pre-K education and places for childcare and stuff like that. And we were just like, we're not going to do that anymore. Now that has since changed. We have relationships with the head of Head Start. We know these people. I do a lot of work with them in a nonprofit I'm on the board for. So that's just one of the examples. So I'm curious, what do you think? How do you feel about what's happening with this DOGE thing?
You know, I'm not going to sit here and I don't know a ton about it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I do, to be honest. Like, I don't have a million thoughts. I have some thoughts from like personal encounters with friends of mine whose parents work for the VA. They're like nurses in the VA. They're dealing with too many patients at once, and then now they're getting lists of things that they have to fucking write down, which I get both sides of this, right? Like, I have a head nurse who's managing 30 nurses, who is managing 150 patients. They're already overworked. To have her then sit down and write out what she's doing every day, I do think is a little bit ridiculous. However, on that same note, and like, again, this is coming from someone that doesn't know a ton about DOGE, does not know a ton about working in the government. I've never worked in the government. Most of what I know about working in the government is through you and through, you know, people in the military, things like that. However, as someone that has worked in the corporate business for a very long time, and I'm sure you get this too, there are a lot of fucking people that don't do a whole lot of nothing with their day, to be
Totally
honest.
agree.
And we know that. So I think it's two-sided. Do I think that trying to understand what people's jobs are day to day to make sure that they are integral? I do think there are a lot of people that don't do that. And I think there's a lot of processes in a lot of businesses, not just the government, that don't check up on that. You know, I can't tell you how many times, I'm not going to lie to you, in the beginning of my career, when my big boss would be like, what do you do all day? And I'm like, I don't know. You know? So, and I think that happens a lot. And when we do have a multi-trillion-dollar fucking debt, I get why, but I do think it was not done in the right way. That's what I think. But again, this is coming from a bit of an uneducated point of view when it comes to DOGE in general.
Yeah. I also, for me, I knew that there's something wasn't right when the reason kept changing. Right now it's, I don't like what's happening with the big, beautiful bill and this bill that's passing. Okay, well, just a minute ago it was, I need to take a step back to worry about what's happening with Tesla.
Elon's reason for leaving.
Yeah, Elon's reason. Because Tesla is in a free fall for sales, their stock price is plummeting. Like, Tesla is not good right now. So I also get that. His reasons have just sort of changed over and over again. And in my opinion, I think the relationship might be not going so well. Like,
trouble in paradise.
In my opinion, Elon contributed like $300 million at the very last minute of that election. Why did you do that? And then all of a sudden you got this big government appointment as a contractor, which, by the way, there is a law that says, I think it's 180 days, that you can't just become a full-time member of the government without actually being vetted and going through the government process and being at a certain level and things like that. So I think that may also have something to do with it, but no one's talking about that. Maybe. There are very specific rules about how you can be contracted as an individual for the federal government.
Yeah, I think a lot of things can be true at once. It could be a multitude of reasons that we might never really know.
Yeah, but just say that.
You know?
Why is it so difficult to be actually truthful? This administration is not known for saying a whole list of true
all
things.
Administrations.
I mean, true, yeah, but this one specifically, Gina, I mean, you have to admit, this man is just known for just the blatant lies. He's like, this is the color red, and it's like, boo, we can all see it's blue. It's at that level. So I just don't, at the end of the day, and I think we say this a lot too, follow the money. There's so much money in this. How many contracts and how many billions of dollars of contracts did Starlink get out of this? You got access to a lot of information and a lot of data about people. What are you doing with that?
Right.
You know a lot of stuff. You put fucking children in charge of what you were doing who are completely unqualified to even handle people's personal information. What did you learn about that? What software did you get involved with this? Like, what did you have access to? And you'd be fucking lying if you said, I don't know anything. I didn't do anything. Yes, you fucking did. We all would. We all peek under the curtain and be like, ooh, let's find out something about you. Everyone's nosy.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It'll come out. Everything comes out at some point. At some point, it might not be. It all comes out in the wash. So I'll be curious to see if we do actually get any concrete reasons. I think you're right. I think it's a multitude of things. I don't think it's one
and
thing.
it always
I
is.
think it's a
That's
multitude
the
of things.
world. It's never black and white. There's always going to
Right.
be a multitude of things for many reasons. But I definitely be paying attention. I get off on this kind of stuff. I love
Yeah.
politics, so I'll definitely be paying attention. But I will say I'm not surprised. I'm not
Yeah,
surprised
I
at all.
want to read more about it because I didn't see anything until truthfully before we got on this call. So I want to look into it a little bit more, and maybe
I
next
definitely
week we'll have
think
more
you
information.
should, but follow the money too. Don't just listen to what they're saying.
Yeah, always follow the money.
Always follow the money. It's always about the money. It's just, I think it's very interesting. And there's always been rumors that the relationship was getting quite tumultuous in some of these conference rooms. Like that rumor's been going on for over a month.
Yeah, I wish I had a fly on the wall. Always.
Same. Oh my God. I would
Right?
give anything to be in those rooms to see how unhinged it all is.
Yeah, same. Actually, I might ask. I have a girlfriend that is in the Senate. I wonder if she knows. I'm gonna ask her.
I have a lot of friends in government, and it has been a lot of the same consensus. And people that aren't in government, you mentioned what's happening with the VA, people are medical. Same. I have a lot of friends in public health. I've worked in public health for 10 years. I have a lot of friends that are physicians that work in Cedars-Sinai. One of my best friends is a pharmacist there. And exactly what you just said is exactly what she's experiencing. They're having to look at so many records because they don't have access to information anymore. It's just been deleted. They can't treat certain illnesses. She doesn't know prescriptions and how things, like prescriptions change every day, just like vaccines and other stuff. And so I'm just kind of interested. We're hearing a lot of the same stories, and it's just there's a lot of downstream effects.
Yeah, yeah. Speaking of a big piece of news, big piece of news, the CDC, FDA are no longer recommending the COVID vaccine for non-at-risk patients, pregnant women, and kids. Did you see that?
I did see that. Yes, I did. You and I have actually, we talked about this a little bit back during the pandemic, and we had very, very different views on this. I don't have a problem with it being rolled back. I'm not surprised because of how this sort of party has always viewed the COVID vaccine specifically. I'm not surprised by it. I also think that things evolve. They always do. We're not in a crisis situation where populations all over the world are dropping like flies. But in my opinion, yes, it was new. We didn't know a lot of what was going on, but the vaccine did exactly what it was supposed to do. It did. It saved people's lives, and I will die on that hill. I do not think that if we did not have a vaccine that we would have just been fine. People are like, oh, it's like the flu. The fuck it was. It was not like the flu. I know people that were very close to me that had people die. In fact, we had someone in my actual group in my MBA program who lost their parents because there was an anti-vaxxer brother who went home to her brother, went to the parents' house, ended up giving it to the parents. I don't know if they were vaccinated. I'll be honest with that. I think one of them was. Ended up dying a couple months later. She had to leave for a couple weeks, and I had to help cover for her because she had to go bury both of her parents. And she couldn't even go and see them because they were hospitalized. She had to physically watch them die from a distance. And it was a terrible story to actually hear from her.
So can I ask you a question? And
Yeah.
oh my gosh, to this person, if she's listening, I can't tell you how sorry I am to hear that. That is, I can't imagine.
And she has 2 kids now, by the way. She was actually
That-
pregnant in the program. I do remember she gave birth while we were going through the pandemic. I went to school during the pandemic. My first year was online. I got in to my
Yeah, I
program
remember.
3 weeks after lockdown. And I was like, what the hell am I
Yeah.
going to do? Oh, this won't take long. The next thing you know, my first year was online. Yeah, she had 2 babies. And so I would, honestly, I'm kind of curious to what she thinks about being a mother and hearing this news and the update. I am actually now curious kind of what she thinks of it.
Well, if she is listening, please note, like, it breaks my heart that your kids are being raised without their grandparents. So what I'm about to say, I'm kind of taking that personal story out of it, but if the vaccine did what it was supposed to do, and you said one of them was vaccinated, did it do what it was supposed to do?
I think. Well, they
You know
were
what I'm
older.
saying? Like, so, and also a big part of the vaccine was to stop the spread and to reduce symptoms. Reduce symptoms, I would say, yes. I wouldn't say that it stopped the spread.
It
I would
wasn't
say
designed
that
to
it kept
completely stop
people
the spread.
from dying.
It,
I don't believe that that's the case.
I disagree with that. It was never designed to completely stop the spread. If that was the case, then it would have done that like that. It was not designed to stop the spread. It was designed to reduce symptoms, Like my take on it, and I'll
So
talk
if
about that in a
that's the
second.
case, then if that's the case, and I think that you and I, like, we've always
Reduce,
disagreed about
not
this.
eliminate.
Right. But if that is the case, if it's to reduce symptoms, then why do people who were not at high risk, why were they getting chastised if they didn't get the vaccine? If the point was not to reduce the spread, if the point was to reduce symptoms and people are still dying of it, I can't tell you how much flack I got for not getting vaccinated. I had friends whose in-laws told them that they would be murdering their siblings if they didn't get vaccinated. That's where now with this rollback and the efficacy of the boosters and a lot of the data that's coming out that I'm happy to read to you, I have it in my hand regarding myocarditis, stillbirths. Like, I kind of feel like people deserve a big fucking apology for being chastised for not wanting to get something they weren't comfortable with when it didn't actually stop the spread and it was supposed to reduce symptoms for people at high risk when it didn't always do that. Do you see where I'm coming from?
I hear you, and I think that's a fair point. I hear you on the apology. I am not someone that can make that stance. You and I are going to
Well, you didn't make me feel like that. You didn't make me feel like that. I'm not saying you.
And that's the point. I want to get to that point, is put the efficacy, which there is a bajillion data points. Like when I was in school, our statistician professor actually pulled the data and we ran statistical models. There was efficacy. It was doing what it was designed to do, and there is data of that. I saw it with my own eyes. That being said, I think that that's the point. I think a part of this was the polarization and the anti-vaxxer movement compared to the you're trying to kill people type of thing, because it did kill people. Anyone says that it didn't, you're naive. I will die on that hill. I'm not going to argue that. But I think that that was a big reason. It's the same reason. I mean, it's happening right now. And one reason we created this podcast, I didn't do that because I wasn't in the mindset of, well, you're just trying to kill people. And you weren't like, well, fuck everyone with vaccines. We weren't like that. But a lot of fucking people were.
Yeah.
And I think that that's where it came from, is that it was causing people to not get vaccinated.
Well, people were losing their jobs because they didn't want to get a vaccination, you know?
But at the same time, the rate of people not wanting to get vaccination was really high. And I understand why. I'm not going to go into this route about why get vaccinated, why not, specifically when it comes to COVID. I think that that is an argument that is kind of in the past. And I don't want to dwell on that.
It's a personal argument, too.
It's a personal argument, and I don't want to go in that. But I will say, from my personal perspective, I couldn't wait to get the vaccine. We didn't know what it was going to do. It caused a lot of inflammation. I know people that still have COVID symptoms. It took me 6 months when I lost my smell the second time I got it. It took me 6 months to be able to smell again. It drove me fucking insane. Yeah. So, but the first time I got it, I did get sick. I was terrified of what was going to happen, and I don't know if it could have been worse. It only lasted a few days. Maybe it would have lasted longer. In my second time that I got it, I didn't even know I had it. I didn't even test positive, but the person I was dating at the time, we were flip-flop reverse. Second time he got it, he hadn't gotten his COVID shot yet, and he got super sick. I had just gotten my booster, I think like a month before. He got so fucking sick. Just my lived experience, I saw something different. So that's how I felt about that.
Which is fair, which is fair. And it was based on your own experience. And that's how, like, I think, you know, a lot of people now that, like, the CDC is no longer recommending it. There are studies that came out in the CDC that prove that there is an increase in stillborns and women that did receive the shot. There were gynecologists that wouldn't even treat their pregnant patients anymore if they didn't get it. So I think that's why people are so frustrated and why it's becoming a topic again, is because people are like, I got fired, or I had to get the shot and now I'm having health issues that I never had, which is true. The increase, the staggering numbers and the increase in the difference between the flu vaccine, for example, and the COVID vaccine, the increase in myocarditis in young women and men between ages 21 and 36 is staggering. I'm talking in the millions of difference for ratios. It's staggeringly high. So I think people are just frustrated because they were chastised. People were chastised. And it, efficacy aside, like, I just think that is totally up to you. And like, they're being painted as anti-vaxxers. Like, not everybody that's anti-COVID vax is anti-every vax. Like, that's not the same thing. That's apples to oranges.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And here's a good example of why I think they were coming from the place that they did. Now, all of a sudden, we have a massive problem with measles in this country. Now people are not vaccinating their children. We have actually children dying of measles. What the fuck? But that is definitely, in my opinion, fed from this whole movement, and that has caused downstream effects of now people not wanting to vaccinate their children.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that comes from two places. I think it comes from people being forced to do something they didn't want to do. And I think that this is becoming such a polarized, because it's coming from both places. People don't want to fucking be told what to do. And for a year, people were told, okay, well, you're going to lose your jobs. We're mandating this new thing. And so I think that's also part of it. I think it's two-sided there. I think people feel polarized because there is just a lot coming from both sides, and it's too much. But let's move on to our fave segment.
Yes, I need your opinion, and we have some good ones. I can't wait to redo these because they were so good.
Okay. CJ and Gina, love your podcast. Ooh, thank you.
Ooh.
I'm curious how Gina's husband's relationship is with CJ. My husband is also very straight and was never around LGBTQ people until he met my gay aunts who raised me. My husband and aunts are now besties. Yay. That was it. That's how she ended it.
So the question is how our Connor and I's relationship. Connor and mine's relationship. Connor and mine's relationship. It's great. I have never once, even for 5 seconds, felt that Connor felt any negativity towards me for being an openly gay man. I think part of that is in a relationship for you, these are people in my life. You either support them or they don't. And if you don't, then I don't support you. I have never felt any of that from Connor. In fact, one of my favorite things about Connor is he has actively taken an interest in my life. He has actively wanted to get to know me. One of my favorite things is when I visited you and one of our first times hanging out, he wanted to spend time with me. He invited me out. He goes, I want to take you out for drinks. I want it to just be you and me. I want to get to know you. He asked questions about my life. He genuinely cared about who I was as a person, not as a gay person, but as a person. That's not everything you are. And I want to know about what was your life like? Where do you hang out? Do you like sports? And the same with him. I was like, talk to me about how you feel about Indy 500. Share that with me. And I grew up with racing. We found commonality and understood that there's more to us. And so I've never felt that from him. In fact, I absolutely love Connor as a human, not even just as your husband. I really, really like Connor. I think he's a very well-rounded, grounded, down-to-earth human being. And I think that he's very smart. We are not going to agree politically, but I still respect the fact that he has his own opinions. And I do know and believe that he is a more educated person. Connor has actively taken an interest in going to gay bars. We went to some in Tampa and he was like, oh my God, let's go here. I think it'd be really cool. And he's taking interest. And you know, you and I talked about this. I know Connor is not like, yeah, California, can't wait to go. But if he was to come, I do believe that he would want to go to high tops like your mom. Maybe not take him on a Saturday night when there's go-go's everywhere. I think that might be a little bit too much exposure on day one. But I would take him there. It's a sports bar. They play all kinds of sports. Hey, let's go to a gay bar and actually watch sports. Their food is fantastic. Let's get some chicken sammies and watch sports at the gay bar. I think that he would do that.
He would. No, Connor loves you to death, and like your guys' relationship fills my heart to no end. But it also doesn't surprise me. I would not choose somebody to spend my life with that didn't accept you or didn't. Connor has the kindest heart of most people that I know. He definitely can have a tough exterior, but Connor, oh God, truly is just good to his core. And he was raised by people that were good to his core. And I wouldn't choose someone otherwise. Like literally we were in Indianapolis a few weeks ago and Connor was like, oh, there's like these areas that I want to take CJ to. I like immediately, like just without even being prompted to. And he's like, I think you would love this bar or this bar. Like, I think CJ would love it here. You were at the forefront of most things in my life. And Connor knows that. And his family knows that. Beth adores you. She asks about you all the time.
Mama Beth.
Yeah, they live in rural Indiana. Are they as exposed to the LGBTQ community as somebody in urban areas? No. But that also doesn't mean that they're not loving and accepting people. And if they weren't, they probably wouldn't be in my life, period.
Shout out to Beth, Mike and Beth.
Yeah.
Love and adore them as well. They're not polarizing people, and I want everyone to hear that. Like,
wonderful people.
Come on, y'all, get in the middle, get in the gray area. These people love me, and I have felt that.
Yes. Good. That makes my heart very happy. It really does. It really does. Speaking of the gays, this one actually, this question is directed towards you. Like you are named in this.
Oh my gosh, I'm so popular today.
Okay. It says, I don't know. I'm still so hurt, but I need some help processing this. Extremely long story short, my boyfriend of 5 years was caught cheating with both girls and guys. He now seems to be exclusively with one of those guys. He's come out on social media, not as a bisexual man, but as a gay man. It's been a whole thing, and he's being celebrated for his bravery. He still cheated on me, and I feel like it's being celebrated, and nobody cares that I'm hurt. CJ, can you help guide me here? I can't see past my heartbreak on this one, and I'm very angry.
Okay, I have a couple thoughts here, and I want to segment this because I think it's very important, my friend, that this is two different things. One, I want to say that I empathize with you. I wish I could give you a really big hug right now. You're going through a lot of pain. I don't know how recent this is, but there's a lot of layers to this. And I can understand how it would be very, very hurtful. I'm assuming maybe, let's say that hypothetically you live in a more conservative area. The first thing I want to talk about is the cheating. There were multiple instances of it. That is not okay. I don't care if it was a man, a woman, a purple people pickle eater or whatever it is. It's not okay. I don't agree with that. You all had very set boundaries, and he changed those boundaries and he crossed a line. Period, paragraph, print. It's not okay. And I'm not going to justify his actions to that. I'm sorry you went through that. That is hurtful and that is not okay. I will say, though, and kind of bleeding into my second point, is he was dealing with some demons. Again, not okay. It should have been worth a conversation, and with you specifically about, hey, I think something I need to talk to you about before I engage with this. He ended up having, in my opinion, forcing himself in that because he got caught with his pants down. So now I want to talk about the coming out thing. The coming out journey is very difficult for a very vast majority of people. It happens at different times for people. It happens at different moments of life. There are different things that trigger that. I know people, very good friends, that came out at 14. That was not me. I was almost 20 because I was fucking terrified to do so. Terrified. I dated women. Now I'm a gold star, platinum even. I've never touched a vagina. That's not for me. There are even girls that I've dated that are now identify as men. Scary. It is scary because of being removed from homes or how people are going to think of you. I lost so many friends. I lost whole communities of people because I was a little religious, and I think I've talked about that before. I lost a whole community of people. Now I ended up finding a new home, and I found a new community of people and got involved in organizations. I was a sophomore in college and ended up being exposed to a whole new world. I didn't know a single gay person until I went to college. I never met one. The only thing I knew about being gay was it was bad, and that even to this day, people are experiencing a lot of violence in my community, physical violence. I've had physical violence against me. When I was an RA in my building, I had people lock me in a room and try to set it on fire and tried to kill me.
Oh, that's story.
And I will never forget that as long as I live. I found out who it was. They lived on a different floor in my building. It was 3 guys that were younger than me. I gave their information to the police and nothing was ever done. It was a very much, yeah, but you didn't die. There's nothing we can do about it now. And I will never fucking forget that as long as I live. So it's a very difficult thing to come out and experience that. I know people that came out in their 40s. I know somebody right now, literally, that is 37 years old, just now is coming out, still identifying as bisexual, is starting to experience relationships with men, is dating this guy who is in his 50s that just came out 2 years ago and has 3 grown-ass kids. That is very common. So the coming out journey is very unsettling. Now, I will say that I empathize with him on his coming out journey, and I'm actually very happy because he's now living a truth in how he identifies. Again, what he did was not okay. You said that no one cares if you're hurt. I don't know that if people really know the full story, I think maybe they would feel different, because I don't know, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, he cheated, that's totally fine. I don't know many people that are like that. Now, if he is saying out loud and telling that side of the story, that he cheated and then became gay, that's not fucking cool. And dude, you need to fucking stop that shit. And you can tell him I said that. That's not cool. That is not something you should be sharing with people, and fuck you if you are. I understand why people are celebrating him, and that I can understand how that would be hurtful to see and experience. And I hate that for you. I do hope that as time moves forward, it sounds like this might be a little more fresh, maybe within the last year or two. I do think as time moves on, I hope that you do find peace and heal from that, and maybe you can repair that relationship. I think you said you were together for 5 years. That's not short. 5 years is a very long time to experience life with someone. Maybe you can repair that relationship. Maybe you can't. Relationships evolve. People are going to evolve. You're going to end up finding some incredible man who's going to make that past relationship a blip on the screen. But I want you to know that when you move past this hurt, you are going to grow so much more from this. And that might be a little hard to hear. And I want you to know that you will. You're going to be okay. It does suck. You're going to push through the pain. Let him go live his life with this, and let him be happy with who he now is. I'm sorry you experienced that, but I think his coming out journey, we need to understand that that is his.
Yeah. Yeah. And unfortunately, I think it's one of those things where, like, this is really hard because it was your life for 5 years. It's not anything that you did. It's not about you. It's not something, it's not like you pushed him away. You know, boo, this would have happened anyway. And I think that's what you need to remember. And I think you might need to try and find some solace in that. And that this was not your person. This is not meant to be. It was never going to be. And it's better that it happens now, before you get married, before you have children, before you have a whole life, and all these things intertwined. So I think maybe find some peace in that it happened now. And also too, I think it's important to remember, and I don't know how things are being said on social media and the celebration, like CJ said, 2 people are always hurt in a breakup. And I promise you that if this person was with you for 5 years, they have a lot of love for you, and they probably do have a sense of guilt, and they probably do feel bad. And I think it's important, because we always think when we're the one that got cheated on, or we're the one that got broken up with, that we're the only ones hurting. And you need to remember that that's probably not the case. So I think maybe write down your feelings. And if you guys haven't talked, maybe just say, hey, I just want to let you know I am hurt. And like, maybe I wouldn't say, do it to your own, what you feel comfortable with, but it's okay to let someone know how you feel. And if that's going to make you feel better and give you some peace, I say do it. I always say don't leave words on the table, but it's not about you, and that it's not your fault. And this just isn't your person. And like CJ says, you are going to find somebody one day that is going, no matter the breakup and the type, I promise you will find someone that makes you realize why it all happened. I promise.
Yeah. You're going to be okay, my love. It hurts, and I get that. And what happened was not okay, but you will be okay. I believe that.
100%.
So, again, big hug. Big hug.
Sending love.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm so glad we got to like recap some of the shit we lost last week. Submit your I need your opinions. They're our favorite. And if you have thoughts on Diddy and you're a lawyer, please email us. Like, please.
Yeah, email, sound off in the YouTube comments. There's some great ones on there. Feel free to go and drop one and look at what's there. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate the listen today. Loves, hugs, and kisses, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.